live. So
Wait a minute, I can't hear a word you're saying. He has the volume like turned off on here.
okay. I think we are up. We are up. We're live.
Up and live. Hey, good
Yep.
morning, everybody. All right, I'm sitting there trying to fix my volume and see if I can even hear you guys or hear Annie, and then she says you're live. Okay,
Very
Dr.
organized.
Misak. Yep, Dr. Misak here, Pittsburgh Alternative Health, and I'm just coming here for you on a overcast Saturday after an excruciatingly hot week. How many of you guys have been sweating like we have in Pittsburgh? Kind of, kind of a funny thing. With my part of my family has been in Florida, and it's been hotter here than where they are. So, as always, let's start with a
Well,
verse.
I don't know. We should hang on for a little bit. Let some people jump on. We've got one person on, but let's give people some time here. I'll share us on Facebook and try to get us out as well. I
Okay.
just want to let you know.
Yeah, I
Let's see.
sent Annie an email this week in regards to this stuff, people, and that's why we ask all of you to hit that thumbs up, share, please share. I mean, the only way I had somebody show me notifications that if when we're on our thing and we check our options, that you can see that YouTube's got it grayed out where we cannot have these videos go out to more people, and it's screwed up. So, yes, ma'am.
I'm going to share on Facebook. It prompted me, like it showed me that you want to go live on my YouTube account.
Oh, good. Okay. Annie says she got prompted. So I'm going to go. I am going to read a Bible verse. I mean, um, I think we all go through struggles, and I know I've had mine lately. But it's kind of good when stuff like this comes. I love how this speaks to me, at least during these shows. But I love the Bible app, and this is out of Ephesians 4:31 and 32. It says, "Get rid of all the bitterness, rage, and anger, brawling and slander, along with every form of malice. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other, just as in Christ God forgave you." I mean, that just speaks volumes to me right now with all the crap that I've had going on in my life. But it's all good, people. It is all good. We're wanting to bring today a little bit of a different, just a summary of everything that we've been doing and showing you RBTI. Andy's in there doing, trying to let people on Facebook and let people know that we're up and at it. And so I feel like I'm just speaking to a void computer because I can't even see the chat since. Um, See, I just got a text message from. I just got a message
There you go.
from
We have
Amanda.
5 people on.
Yeah, so I'm just going to tell Betty, hey, I'm here, I'm on. And so what we're doing is we're just going to go over a complete review. Andy's going to pull up some uh, those little thumbnails that she has just done an incredible job creating. There's a couple tweaks that we're still working on, and the idea is those thumbnails and what we're doing is going to be graphics within a book that we want people to get out and understand that this is all available. I just got published in Naturopathic Doctor News and Review. If you go to docmisak.com and you go under media, you'll see it says bioelectric chemistry, a case study. I mean, this stuff is amazing, people. I think every alternative practitioner should do this, even if they're focused in on whatever they love doing and they're doing great at it. This will give them a perspective of whether it is helping that patient or not. It gives a direct, measurable way of understanding where in the body it needs supported, how to support the body, what minerals are mostly needed if you really start diving into this. And it's just the most incredible tool that I've ever had. So those of you who need to learn to love yourself, because hey, you're stuck with you. I mean, I figured that out. So I get to a point. So how many of us get self disgust at times and say, oh, why the hell am I doing this? And then but I know how to how to get myself back on track. So don't let this world drive you crazy, people, because that's what it's trying to do to all of us, I think, in some capacity. But don't let it. I'm just going to say, you be you. and go from there. I'm going to pull up the YouTube, and I'm hoping that I don't get feedback here in a second. And I just pull up the show so that I can actually see the chat and know where we are. So live, there we go, and I'm up. Doc Misak. Hey, Doc Misak says, "Hey, all." Thanks, Annie.
Speaking for you.
Good morning, Diana. Betty, good morning. You made it. All right, good. Marty, Doc, hi. Yeah, so I mean, we see the same names, the same guys. We're going on every week, and in all honesty, I had somebody who saw me mention it on YouTube, sent us a video and showing some settings that are on our channel that we don't have access to, and that we should have access. Who do we want to see these videos? We don't have access to that. People who are already signed up members of my channel, or is that what you call followers?
Yeah.
You know? And people who are already signed up followers on our channel, we don't have the access or permission for them to be notified every time that we're going live or going on. And so a fraction of the people who actually are members of this channel are getting to see these videos or getting notified that we're on right now. So, and that we have nothing, we can't do anything about it. All we can do is teach and keep moving forward, people. So what I want to do is talk about just this summary of RBTI. And so it works really well, Andy, because I can see the show on my phone, and then I can actually see which whatchamacallit you pull up, which thumbnail you're pulling out. So try thinking 360. Oh, I do all the time. Thank you. But good morning to you, Jackie. Good morning. And Jackie also good morning. So, I think that it's a good day to let's do some review. And Andy, we're going to pull up. What I want to do, I'm not going to share my screen. I want to go in and check something here.
I was going to put the perfect equation up first.
Yes, that's a good place to start. And while you have that up, I can turn around and I got some notes over here, people. So I'm going to use my notes in front of me today, just so I'm on the same page with where we're talking. So as we get up and we're looking at the perfect equation, this is what it's all about, people. There's where in medicine, where anywhere, any health practitioner that you've ever gone to, any healer you've ever gone to, and you ask them one question so you get a perspective of what they think perfect health is. You say, hey, what is perfect health for me? If I know what perfect health is, what for personally, what I would expect of my own self. But if you go to a health practitioner and you say, can you define what perfect health is so I know what to expect your best for me? I mean, is that a reasonable request, Annie?
So, yep.
And so you go there, and where in medicine has perfect ever been described mathematically? It hasn't for the human body. So we are looking at an equation of perfect health that basically says that when you're consuming food to generate energy for yourself, there is a maximal way that your body can extract that energy, get rid of the waste, and keep you at the highest level of functioning, the optimization of what you are, human biological optimization, and that goes down to the DNA and everything. And where has that ever been explained mathematically other than what Dr. Kerry Reeves did? So he says that when you're eating food, that if you measure your urine and saliva, that these values come out that are determining, think about it, combustion, or if you want to think as a nuclear generator. So Brix, sugars, the potential energy, how much energy is available to me is looking at those sugars. And so you can have a lot of available energy with a Brix of 6 or 7.15, a lot of available energy, but your efficiency in using that energy can just be crap. And that's what this equation shows. And so, because if it goes high and you can't use it, that energy starts displacing oxygen and starts displacing things that those sugars do, and they lead to their own set of symptoms. Foggy brain, can't think, feel all full and yucky, I mean, all of this stuff starts happening. And so then the pHs, the urine pH turns around and gives you an idea of the overall, how well is my body processing everything that it's doing. And it's a speed, people. It is it's a level of resistance. Are things going rubbing against each other at the right resistance so that I can, you know, be like, I don't know, there's so many concepts, a way of looking at it, from ice skating to however you want to look at it. But if things are going at the right resistance, there's enough resistance for you to be able to stimulate energy to do what it needs to do, but not so much that that energy is in so much excess that your organ systems are growing crazy. And so, how fast can my body handle it? And at a pH of 6.4, when Reams talks about if you know your frequency, which in reality, when you're looking at this whole equation, that urine pH is telling you mostly our frequency, you know, then you know your diet, you know what to eat. And so then he outlined that based upon the mineral values of what's in food and how to choose your foods appropriately. You know, this is not a system of taking tons of supplements, but unfortunately, it's a system where you have to take a bunch of supplements for a period of time because you're so depleted that you need it. I mean, if you're looking at there's so many factors that we talk about here with the X factor. Every 20 years, it takes twice as much energy to maintain the same level of optimal health. That does not mean twice as much supplements, which some people have kind of looked at it that way. You know, so what we're trying to say is that whenever you start a program, you know, that X factor plays a role in the amount of time that it's going to take for you to get back to the potential for what optimum your body has. So if you're, you know, 0 to 20 years of age, and we could say within 6 months, and when you go to 20 to 40, you're probably looking at close to 12. When you're looking at 40 to 60, you're looking at 18 to 24. When you're looking at, you know, 60 to 80, you're looking at 2.5 to 3.5 years. When you're looking at over 80, you're looking at probably 4 or 5 years. And that means of consistently taking supplements, usually because you don't get it out of your food. Because I've watched people with regard to their hair analysis and just trying to see people's hair get back to the right ratios of energy efficiency, which is monitored that way. And literally, it took me 4.5 years for my values. My last hair analysis was amazing, you know, but it's taken 4.5 years, people. This is restoration. So, but hey, I just turned 52. So 4.5 years after, you know, at least 38 years of having no clue about mineralization. You know, what does that tell you? You know, how many years did I not remineralize my diet? How many years did I take for my body to be in a negative energy balance and have to suck from my reserve energy and from my body in order to accomplish the day-to-day things that it needed to accomplish? So I'm trying to put this in a perspective for you so you can understand what we're talking about. So that saliva pH is the speed. The Brix is the potential energy. How much energy is there? I said saliva. It's the urine pH. The saliva pH gives us an idea of the speed of, not necessarily the speed of digestion, but you can see that. What you see is the strength of the liver bile. And so how weak or strong is it? And when that saliva pH goes low, that liver bile it's too oxidating. And when that saliva pH is high, the bile gets too weak. And so then you see what we call in natural medicine liver congestion. So you can correlate that saliva pH with the concept of liver heat or liver congestion. When it's low, you have liver heat. When you have a 6.3 or less, and so that liver, you're going to start seeing breakdown, and that's where people will actually see abnormal liver function tests on their blood test. And when you see that 6.4 gets up to the area of around 6.6, particularly 6.8, you've got liver congestion where the liver's saying, hey, all this stuff is coming in here. This is the speed that I can do. But in the meantime, I can't handle this. And so it backs up. And so that's where you get sluggishness and foggy brain and just these toxic symptoms. And that's where, we find that colonics, and that's where we find that gallbladder flushes and things like that to stimulate this bile flush. What Reams would actually do was fasting. I love fasting, but if you've never fasted, you're in this crazy toxic world, you will get sick if you just go out of here and try to fast, particularly if you try to do a Reams fast. So I tell people to do it under guidance, but there are some great books out there on fasting, and getting you through it. But that quote detox that you're going through, if you got crappy equations and crappy, personal energy efficiency, that detox can put people in the hospital. And that's why I will not do detox and fasting to people until I see that your body naturally goes into a detox pattern. The conductivity, the salts, so we're, again, the Brix is the potential energy, the pH is the friction of the resistance and the speed of that energy. That conductivity is the ability of energy to get where it needs to be or not. Hey, can I get it there? And so when you're looking at that, when you get too much, hey, the gates are open. We got more energy than we can handle coming in. We got a 20 gauge wire, but we're running the power for a 12 gauge through it. What's going to happen? That's how we get electrical fires. Things burn, things fall apart. And so that's what happens to your nerves and your smooth muscle from high conductivity. And your fluids get too thick. Your tissues get hardened, and things can't work. That salt is just, I can't handle the load. There's too much energy coming in. We got to slow this body down. Let's have some disease, seriously. So we're looking at the energy efficiency, and on the backside of that equation, the cell debris is that turnover. How fast am I getting rid of stuff? Are the cells actually, God's into rebuilding. Said that wrong. God's into building new, not just rebuilding. Your restoration is, hey, I'm gonna make you new, people. And so you are laying down healthy cells. And that final part, those nitrates are giving us an idea of that capacity. So when you're looking at the backside of this equation, those nitrates over ammonia nitrates is protein building capacity versus protein breakdown. And if you are in a high protein breakdown state, you're going to see that cell debris go up because your body can't build and you're getting a bunch of crap coming out of you, and cells are dying because they're not getting what they need, and at least you should, because if you don't, then your chemistry is not, working well with what's going on in your body. And that's a really bad sign. That's where you see people getting cancers and all types of nasty diseases. So this is not a form of diagnosis, people. This is a level of interpretation of understanding where in the body is weak, what the body needs. And it's just a system that says this is perfect. And if any one of these variables are away from it, then something's going on. And I'm going to tell you where it is going on, and knowing the where and trying to identify the cause and effect relationships is just amazing tool, people. That's accessible to all of you. Let me see what we have here going on. Betty, I just announced it on the RBTI Facebook page. Thank you very much. Hopefully more will join. Linda, I send out a tweet every Saturday. Thank you. Gigi, yep, been missing you. Good morning, Marty. Don't forget blue thumbs up, everybody. Please, thank you. That just, it gives us stats, but it doesn't mean that YouTube's going to take the stats that show our favor and help us with it. So, but we can all pray for that, can't we? Just Lee, what is the oxalate content and vitalometry for kidney stone patients? It's not high. It's I don't know how to identify the oxalate content without basically having it go to a gas chromatography center or something. But what you're looking at is sambucus, not sambucus. Purslane is a common weed that is loaded with essential fatty acids. But, the greenery of it, purslane is known to have oxalates in there. And that's why it's it's told that dogs, when I was looking at it for animals, should stay away from purslane. I do not know the oxalate content. I have not had anybody turn around, because I know if you have issues with mold, and I talked about mycotoxins, and mycotoxins screw up your chemistry, and then you don't process your oxalates well. I have had people with mold issues taking vitalometry and not have any problem. And in all honesty, I haven't had anybody report a negative effect from taking vitalometry in relation to oxalates or anything. We've had 3 people in 2 years have concerns with vitalometry and want their money back. One, their gastrointestinal tract, it activated it. It made their gastrointestinal tract aware of the crap that they were eating, I was assuming, because they said that after they started taking it, that they started becoming getting bloating and gas whenever they would eat their food. I'm like, okay, do you understand what could have happened? You're enhancing your immune response. Your gut is something that most people ignore for eons whenever they're having symptoms, and they just take that irritated gut as part of living, and the gut stops giving you that sign. It says, okay, it's not worth me expending this energy to give you that symptom because you do nothing about it. So I'm just going to go deeper in the body, and let's cause some different, more systemic chronic. Let's develop leaky gut syndrome, and let's just open the floodgates because the gut can't handle the load. And so let's have leaky gut, let all this crap go in and cause the inflammation elsewhere. You could go listen to Dr. Axe or somebody, and he'll definitely give you that leaky gut contemplation on how all disease is associated with leaky gut. It's not the case, and we're repairing the gut by restoring the energy efficiency there. But hey, I'm going off on tangents. Don't forget the blues. Good morning from West Virginia. Chuck, good morning. Dr. Ream says, God isn't in the secondhand parts business. Yep, I've heard that quote more than once from Betty. God is in just giving you brand new, people. Giving you totally brand new. Well, let me go down here and see if there we go. So whenever I always explain this stuff, I always say that Brix represents potential energy, pH represents speed, magnetism, conductivity, kind of the ability of energy to get where it needs to be. Cell debris represents insoluble waste to get at the body, that detox side. Ureas represent energy being lost from the system, that you're either building protein, using energy to build cells, or you're wasting energy for this putrefaction in your digestive tract, and that it all ties back together. But you're breaking down cells. Your body's saying, hey, we're in a state of breakdown because we have poor energy efficiency. So, but also one thing that we hear mentioned is that pH affects mineral energy. And what does that mean? Is because minerals have their own energy frequency. That's why one of the reasons we drink distilled water is when you have salt in your water, every one of those minerals has a frequency, and there is energy in relation to that. The question is that energy readily available to you when you're drinking it? And so when you're looking at mineral energy, there's suggestion that at that pH of 6.4, there's a mineral acceptance chart that is in controversy within the RBTI world, but I believe in that mineral acceptance chart. And I believe that if you consistently have a urine pH that shows where particular minerals are not being accepted, and you start looking at your symptoms that you have, and then you correlate those symptoms with symptoms of the minerals that are not being absorbed, guess what? You are going to see that you have mineral deficiency symptoms. It gets that simple. And I have used RBTI to see that almost everybody, most people need selenium. Most people need extra zinc. Many people need trace amounts of lithium. Many people, some need copper, and everyone's like, oh, don't do copper. It's toxic. It can be, but if you're having varicose veins and other issues and yeast concerns, you might need a little bit of copper. So I think one of the greatest aspects of RBTI is that mineral acceptance, that you can understand and you can restore and remineralize. Because if you look at how minerals work together, they make these charts that it's like a round ball that have these primary minerals going around, and it shows all these lines going between the balls. And then, but some of the lines have arrows going one way, some of the lines have arrows going both ways, and that shows how these minerals interconnect and work with each other in the body, and or in nature, just in general. People, it's all about energy. And so when you're talking mineral energy, and ashes to ashes, dust to dust, when you rot, what are you going to become? You're going to fall back to this earth, and yeah, that tissue's going to break down, but what it goes back to: calcium, phosphorus, potassium, trace minerals. You are a pile of rock, and that rock inside of you right now is what's creating your energy. And that inefficient, and how the energy of each one of those play a role to one another and relative to each other depends on your efficiency of that energy for the potential of how much you can get. So, I want you to understand that you're supposed to get your food, your energy, from minerals out of your food. And that's where the genius of Reams comes in, because he taught high Brix foods and how to remineralize our soil so food becomes our medicine, just like the Bible says. People, this is amazing stuff, but I'm just trying to give it to you straight and clear. Let me see what we got here. You guys got to keep me sidetracked every now and then, because I'm going to go on tangents. Can't you tell? Wow. Okay. So mineral energy, we're looking at all that. So if we turn around and, RBTI, gives you the ability of choosing foods according to your direct chemistry of what you need. When you test these numbers, and they are in the perfect range, basically the human body can assimilate energy from these chemical processes in such an efficiency that you can cheat and eat whatever crap you want and you'll feel fine. But every time you do, you deplete some reserve energy. And if you deplete your reserve energy down past the point, guess what? Based upon your degree of genetic susceptibility, your poor imprints from your telomeres and the stress that you've had in your life, you'll start going back to having bad patterns, because you get below your energy threshold consistently, to where you've depleted your reserve energy not to. So the goal of RBTI is to build your reserve energy, and that's basically what it is. So if we pull up the Brix one, Annie, let's kind of go through these a little bit. So we look at Brix, and Brix is based upon sugar regulation and oxygen availability. What it comes down to: potential energy. At a Brix of 1.5, you have the maximal amount of oxygen carrying capacity found in the blood. When you have less than 1.5, decreased oxygen availability because there's not enough. When you have a Brix of greater than 1.5, you have that where those sugars start displacing oxygen, resulting in, again, diminished oxygen availability. So many people put a range of Brix between 1.2 to 2.0. I heard Reams say 1.5 to 2.0 once is where he wants it. But that range of 1.2, you get down to a 1.2, you're going to have symptoms, and but that's what you want. And when you're outside of your ideal range, that part of self-awareness that we talk about in the 5-phase health approach is like, hey, I've got something going on. I need to analytically look at what could be happening here so that I can fix this. They sometimes just get in a deep meditative prayer, and God will give it to you. And if you study this stuff, next thing you know, you're going to have it pop in like, okay, this is sugars. Oh, this is my pH. Oh, this is the weakness of my body. This is my liver. I know what it is. Maybe I can just put my hands over top of it and pray. And does that help? Hell yeah, it's going to help. Oh my God, my coffee. I love you, Annie. I do have my water right I did have my water right here. Yes, I do want my water. I don't know what I do with it. I don't see it under me. So anyway, where were we?
Little intermission.
Yeah, we were at self-awareness, people. We were at the aspects of, you know, if you go and you look, and Annie will at some point pull up the restorative model, because if you're looking at Brix, you know, first thing what you're looking at is potential energy, and there's a direct set of symptoms that go well with low sugars, which include like lightheadedness, dizziness, extreme fatigue, muscle aching, sugar crashing, usually about 11 to 2, where, hey, I just need a nap. You know what I mean? Headaches, usually frontal, migraines, seizures, just forgetfulness, always being cold, you know, just all types of stuff like that is going on. And then high sugars, you're going to see always being warm. You're going to see foggy brain, those congestive headaches, you know, in the back of your head. Again, muscle aches, you know, sore, tired, and achy. Numbness in the extremities, because high sugars is going to correlate with the lack of oxygen going and the irritation of the nerves with the high salts that are going to go right up with it. Rapid heart rates, you know, thickness of your blood, and your your heart having to work with that blood thickness, and those nitrates will start going up, and you'll start seeing usually when you see angina, it's correlating with high sugars as well. Insomnia, can't sleep, all this energy floating around, my body doesn't know what to do with it, and I'm just tossing and turning because my liver's too congested to handle it, and so I feel like crap. And that time of where my body's supposed to go in a restorative nature is a time of like, oh, I can't get through this night because I've got all this crap in my body. You know, it's all about energy movement. You know, sometimes you'll see high sugar people having to wake up and pee several times at night. If you look at the restorative model, you know, we talk about total amount of stress on the left side, and you see that you have all these stressors: physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, uh, physical. You're seeing mycotoxins, you're seeing air pollution, water, you know, anything that's a stress to your body, trauma, anything that's a stress to your body, you can only it all requires energy to deal with. And so it creates a burden, and you have a threshold. When you exceed that threshold, you've got symptoms. And so when you're looking at this restorative approach, you're looking at this 5 phases of saying, hey, let me clean up my air, you know, pure air, pure food, pure water, EMF protection. Let me find out what I'm stressful to. Let me start supporting my body. Let me start detoxing. Let my body start getting rid of this. And when you start a program of where you lower the load on the body and you start feeding the body, you will detox. Don't expect your initial conversion to RBTI and a restorative approach to be a fun one. You will detox, but your chemistry will show how when you're ready to support that detox. So it doesn't mean detox. So let's start doing some sauna and foot baths and colonics. I'd like any one of my clients who came here the very first time to chat in and say, did I tell you to come to my office and do detox therapies? Because I got them all, people. I have them all. It's not about that. It's an idea of identifying when your body is ready and supporting your body. That is the purest naturopathic approach that's out there. And that's when we can use things like castor oil packs and doing colonics and doing these type of therapies once the body is ready to do it, to move this stuff out. So as you start detoxing and as you take what your body needs, you'll notice the threshold goes up. Hey, I have less of a load. I'm taking what I need, so now I can handle more. Okay, so now I have a higher threshold, and then my symptoms drop down, but they don't go away. Why don't your symptoms just go away? They may, in your perspective of what you want your health to be, but if something doesn't feel right, that's your body trying to say, hey, reevaluate here. What did you do? What did you eat? What did you not eat? What did you drink? You know, it's giving you, it's telling you what's going on. But then that restorative range, you start that aspect on that bottom coming up, remineralization. You start the detox and you start to remineralize, and then you get where your symptoms are low, where you don't have them, you're below your threshold, and your body is repairing. And that's where we see you fall into the AB range consistently. And when we're looking at oxidizer types, which we've talked about, fast and slow and mixed oxidizers, and how fast oxidizers resonate with DE range and slow oxidizers resonate with the BC range. But the DE range, the problem with fast oxidation is most people who are in the DE range don't have the digestive capacity for what their body really needs with those protein and fats. They can't break it down. So it's good to support it during a period of time. Drink the lemon water with your meals. Sometimes take those digestive enzymes because you need that energy. You need to slow things down. You need that calcium out of there. Okay, I want this stuff to make sense. All right, so let's flip it over to pHs. So when you look at urine pH representing post-digestive efficiency and saliva pH representing like a pre-digestive efficiency, you're looking at how energy can move through your system. You know, the strength of your liver bile. Then also that pH is telling us where in the body things are having. High pHs, upper body symptoms, heart, lungs, thyroid, sinuses, head, brain. Okay. Low pHs, lower part of the body. You know, lower digestion, pelvic organs, uterus, prostate, rectum, knee pain, ankles, joint pain. You'll start seeing how those pHs correlate with where things are happening in your body. You know, Ream showed as that at that pH of 6.4, you have the least amount of resistance that your body needs in order to do what it's supposed to do. It's the right frequency. Because if you go lower than that, it's going too fast. If you go higher than that and you're too alkaline, it's going too slow. So those low symptoms going too fast, hey, I got diarrhea. I get non-digested food in my stool. I get hip and lower joint and extremity pain. I premenstrual syndrome and cramping and heavy menstrual blood flow and prostatic conditions and malabsorption deficiencies. You know, things are going so fast that where I was talking about looking at understanding those minerals and knowing what minerals to take, you're just going to have more mineral deficiencies. And so trace minerals, in some cases, I'm giving people those humic and those fulvic minerals for period, not forever, because some of those are like sea salt, and some of them your body, your conductivity will go up and say, hey, it's too salty now. You know, you got to watch what these numbers tell you when you try a product. But those alkaline or those anionic symptoms, you know, is the opposite. Constipation, upper respiratory, sinus conditions, skin eruptions. You don't utilize vitamin A. You utilize vitamin A worse with high pH than you do with low pH. But vitamin A can be deficient in both circumstances. You see those vitamin A vision complaints. You see shoulder and upper extremity pains, thyroid conditions, cluster headaches. You know, you'll see teeth and jaw issues. You know, across the board, we see these kind of things happening. And so that pH is telling us, how well are you doing? What's the efficiency of all this? Is it too fast? Is it too slow? As we go to conductivity, you know, we look at the conductivity, and Annie keeps these. How do you guys, you know, you guys got to put something in the comment about how Annie's doing with these pictures. You know, I just give her some praise, people. Let me see if we got any questions out here. Chuck, hey doc, can a body part get used? Wait a minute. Hey doc, can a body part get used to a product such as Vitalometry? Yes. First bottle was awesome. The second and third was no effect at all. And that's the reason. It's not a matter of getting. What happens, Chuck, is you're increasing your level of threshold, and you're now you can tolerate a little bit more. So you got all these initial benefits that you were noticing, but you should be at a higher level of health. If you want to see what it's doing, stop taking it. You know, stop it for 2 weeks or even 1 week, and you'll start noticing, okay, this is coming back. and this is coming back. Or hopefully you won't get sick, particularly with this COVID crap, because it's a nasty virus. You can become, I see people become more susceptible. So any product, what happens is you could take something and, whether it be spirulina or whether it be, I mean, I could turn around and go over so many of these super products. And when your body is really deficient, you feel it like, oh my God, this is amazing. So what you're doing, so what I do is I find people to do a maintenance, So historically, I started out with vitalometry taking about 8 to 12 a day, and then I was consistently taking 8. Now I take 4, and because I can still tell a difference if I don't. That's the whole thing. Is that self-awareness for me? Is that if I don't take it, I know that I didn't take it. So that's what I would tell you. I'm not going to tell you just to take my product because of the good things that it has and can suggest that it does for you. I don't want to make a claim, but what I do want to say is stop it. And if you say, okay, oh my God, I do see it was doing something, find the dose that keeps you at that bottom, that happy norm. If it's not enough, you might need to take 8 for a period, you know? And I tell people, watch your numbers. That's the one thing I love about vitalometry is I consistently see an improvement in chemistry when people take vitalometry. And so, but I'm not claiming it to be an RBTI product to fix all your numbers. That's not how it works. So so as we go up, she has the perfect equation there. Let me see. Was there any other questions?
Yeah, we were moving into conductivity.
Yep, I was going to move into conductivity. Let me see. Jonelle. Oh, hi, Jonelle. It's been a long time. That was Kashmir, I think. I went to my doctor for a yearly physical and found an issue with my blood. The ANA was positive, and antibody anti-centromere was high. Should I get further testing before seeing you? Not specifically, because I would want to see your blood. I would want to see what type of immune type stressors are showing in your blood as a live blood. I would probably, you have a microbial issue. You got something that's led to the 10-to-1 ratio that those bugs have to your cells. They're thriving in an unhappy way. And so you got to start dealing with that. Some people, I find that colloidal silver can be amazing. Also, there's a little ozone generator on Amazon. It's not expensive. Starts with an A. I don't remember the name of it. I have one in my office. Before you could consider drinking ozonated water regularly, because of that. But introduce it slowly. Don't just start drinking tons of it, because when you drink ozonated water or exposed to ozone or whatever, what happens is it's oxidative, and that oxidative stress tells your body to generate more antioxidant potential. It's stimulating to tell your body to restore. So you don't just start drinking a lot of it, because it can be too much oxidation and cause issues in the body. Plus, that ozone is going to not only get converted to oxygen for oxygenation and availability, but it's going to have an antimicrobial effect if that's kind of going on. So I'm sorry to hear that. I hope we are going to see and talk about that further. Linda, what is he indicated by small hemangiomas that pop up on my skin? I'm slowly getting more of them, and they never go away. My pH range is good for my saliva, and my urine is always in the 5s. Yeah, I bet you the integrity of your vascular lining, you have to have calcium. You have to have copper. So I would tell you, if you've done a hair analysis, you probably have an elevated a zinc to copper ratio. You'll have a high zinc to copper to where you have lack of available copper, because you will see that those hemangiomas, or the other name, what are those things called? Can't believe it. Medical terms are outside of V today. So let's get back to conductivity. But yeah, that's a mineral deficiency. And so start working with it. I had a guy once who had brown spots and just covered with skin issues. and never talked about it. It wasn't any of his concern. He was more concerned with overall health and his gastrointestinal tract and stuff like that. And he started on a remineralization program, and he'd come in to where his pH is, and I'm just like, come back in 3 months, come back in 6 months, But what I noticed by not seeing him very often was he came in and all these brown spots that people call liver spots were gone. I'm like, he came in once and I'm like, have you noticed that your skin is like completely different and like all those brown aging spots or liver spots? And he's like, oh my God, yeah, my wife has said something about it and everything. It was like night and day. It's amazing, people. What does that? So I'm going to go back and let's go to conductivity. Let's try to get through this in 15 minutes. And conductivity, is giving you the idea of salt levels, osmotic regulation, fluid density, how thick are the body fluids? If it's too thick, it goes too slow, people. But, and also that depends on whether it's alkaline or acidic. But, those tendencies are affecting the friction of the ions, and the amount, and that friction based upon the thickness of those fluids is going to affect heat loss. And so when you're looking at it, I don't think anybody teaches this stuff better than Michael Olsta. When you look from a standpoint of understanding the quantum energy effects of what RBTI is telling us, just go study Michael Olsta. I don't like to go there because I'm a clinician. I like practical, and I hope this stuff makes sense to you guys because I'm doing it as best as I can to explain it. But when you're over ionized, there's too much ionization, too much electricity. It's like static, through your system, and that energy causes nerve and smooth muscle breakdown. And that would be my argument as to why not to drink this high alkaline water all the time. That high alkaline water has, what you're doing is electrolysis to attract hydrogen off of the water to, quote, make more oxygen availability so you can have an oxidative stress, but also you're going to have a higher conductivity, and that's going to cause a little bit of irritation in your system. It can help for short periods, and it's wonderful for detoxification. And I will use alkaline water in people getting into the sauna for a short period of time just during that process to speed it up. But for long-term consumption, stop that years ago. Excess of conductivity leads to coagulation and agglutination, a decreased zeta potential in your blood. And so you see all this rouleau and this aggregation. So what does that affect with your ability to get oxygen where it's needed? And think about what oxygen is going to be availability based upon the ratio of your sugars to salts, which is very good to understand that. So, but those excess of conductivity is going to have that irritation to the nerves and smooth muscle. So you can see like diverticulitis because of the smooth muscle and the digestive tract gets weak. You can see lack of bladder control. Achoo! Oh my God! Sneeze and pee. Hiatal hernias, nervousness. Anyone around? Did you check the cameras, Annie? Hearing. What'd you say? Hearing impairment. Constant irritation, tinnitus, high blood pressure, heart palpitations, edema, swelling. Thickness of fluids. What else? Increased body temperatures because it gets thick and that heat's not dissipating. Arthritis, lack of skin elasticity. Tissues get hard. Kidney disease, breakdown. You start looking at all the things that people come to you and tell you that they've been diagnosed with, and you start correlating them with these abnormal values, and guess what? They don't have disease. They have imbalance. Low conductivity, just basically you see everything goes, energy can't get where it needs to be. My brain doesn't work. Mental and physical slowness, poor coordination. You typically see that'll also get worse if you have low sugars or, high, and you're toxic, if you have high nitrates. When you look at cell debris is that only objective test that basically is representing the amount of particles coming out in the urine. And so for every particle that you cannot see, there's at least 20,000 or every particle, I said that wrong. Every particle that you can see, reams show that there's at least 20,000 that you cannot see. And so some people like say, well, I have a 3M, a 2M, a 1M, a 0.04M. I can't see anything. People, you cannot tell whether you have a 3, 2, or 1M by looking at your urine without a microscope. Because that, if you could see particles floating, if you see something with your naked eye with a pin light behind there, then according to Reams, that for every particle you see, there's 20,000 that you cannot see, and a 0.04M or 40,000 is normal. So for every 20,000, you do the math, you're at 4 million particles or more. You're at a 4M. So what do I say? You're at a 4M or you're at a less than 4M. And then that 4M can be scaled as a 1 plus, 2 plus, 3 plus, based upon a light going through it, to tell you the severity of how bad things are coming out and breaking down, which also tell you whether that chemistry is telling you, hey, I'm in a breakdown and my body's getting rid of the crap, or I'm in a breakdown and I'm just breaking down. I could show you my dad's numbers on his deathbed and you'd be like, wow, that's horrible. He was a 1/12 with pHs of 4.8/4.8. Yeah, how much energy was he producing there? Less than 4 to 5%? It's been a hard few weeks, people. But this stuff tells you what you need to know. It's amazing. So you go through, and for cell debris, it's basically correlates with that thickness of body fluids, and it tells you water balance. And you'll see edema or kidney stress, and it gives you an idea of organ stress. And as I mentioned earlier, if it's low, when all the other variables are showing an improved efficiency, and say, hey, we're starting to do better here, but we're breaking down over here the nitrates, and the cell debris is like less than 4M, something's holding. Why is your body holding onto those cells? We got to use something to help get that stuff out of there. So it's poor elimination, inefficient cellular waste. It's Ream says that poor cell waste will irritate blood vessels, and that's why he looked at the redness, the sclera in the eyes. As we go to those ureas, oh, Annie didn't have cell debris up right there. As we go to ureas, they're representing the soluble and the insoluble salts, which affect the urine conductivity and water balance. So you'll see how they interrelate with energy efficiency by affecting those other things. So you will see the nitrates as they go high, the heart will pound. You'll see that they're giving you an idea of how well you're digesting your food and giving you insight into liver or pancreatic efficiency, because you can see the saliva pH will go up, the nitrate, the top number will come down, and you know that liver and pancreas are not breaking down food. And then you'll see the ammonia nitrates go up, saying that things are putrefying down here. You better get some probiotics and you better get this crap out of here because we're going to have overgrowth. I'm trying to speak functional. I want you to think like a clinician, not necessarily be one, but I want you to understand what this is telling us in the body. And this is what I'm trying to scream to my profession with these articles I've written. This is amazing stuff, people. Nitrate values also give you an idea of that delicate balance between potassium and magnesium needs. Potassium deficiency is associated with thyroid disorders, is associated with the pancreas not able to produce the enzymes that it needs to digest foods. That you have to get everybody who has a thyroid disorder and is showing thyroid antibodies. You have a potassium deficiency, but that doesn't mean go start swallowing a crap of potassium if you don't know what your nitrates are doing, because you will get heart palpitations as you take too much. And if you see your total potassium or your total ureas, when you add those two numbers together at 12 or below, you're definitely potassium utilized deficient. Usually people 14, even 15 on those total nitrates, if they're overweight, will have a potassium deficiency. You'll be going to bed and you'll feel restless. You'll have a little bit of heart palpitations. You'll feel achy. When you see your ureas out, angina, heart attacks, muscle spasms, heart palpitations, extreme fatigue because your heart's working all night long. Dysbiosis in the gastrointestinal tract, mess up that microbiome, swelling, edema, headaches, congestive headaches. You're trying to detox, restlessness, insomnia, because that's when your body's supposed to go into restorative. And so you become restless, and that can be a part of it. And taking something for your sleep during that time, I'm fine with it. Use some kava, use some burdock tea, improve the efficiency of that liver while you're sleeping. You know, low urea symptoms, there's potassium deficiency. Oh my God, my brain won't work. I can't remember anything. Annie, ever been there? I've kept you haven't talked much today.
Yesterday. I'm still there. I'm living there currently. Gotta get my stuff together.
So just decrease mental acuity. You know, I mean, talking about taking vitalometry, I can tell when I don't take it because my brain won't work. Forgetfulness, headaches, seizures when these low ureas, dementia, um, again, thyroid dysfunction, brain tumors. You know, so you know when we look at RBTI and you go back, you know, after you look at these basic variables, we have to look at ranges, and that's going to be another little thumbnail that Andy's I'm gonna have to put together and help Andy. We kind of have it. So if you pull up the pH chart again, Andy, we can show people how the a little bit of the ranges because they're on there. And so on the pH chart, you'll see that where you're testing pH on the she kind of did a color coding with a pH strip of where the ranges is. And so 6.3 to 6.6 is in that A range. When you go below that, you know, 6.2 to about 5.7, I believe, is D. When you go below 5.7, you're in the E range. If you go high on your pHs, you know, 6.5, 6.7 to around 6.9, I believe, or 7.1, I think is the B range, and the C range is higher than that. You know, here's what I'm going to tell you with regard to range. And this, Betty, is somewhere where I kind of disagree. You know, your father talks about this is directly me and Betty talking here. Betty, your dad talks about you know, that if you take which number is the furthest away from ideal, and that puts you in what energy range that you're in. But when you're practically thinking and you're looking at this from a day to day, it's the urine pH. Because even if you're in the D or E range on the Brix and you have the urine pH honing in, then I can work with sugar regulation. And then, but you have to choose your foods based upon that pH, because that pH is saying the speed of things and what's going to be accepted. So I argue that when we're looking at range, we look at urine pH, because urine pH is going to tell us how efficient we are overall, and the saliva pH is going to tell us how efficient that efficiency is, how efficient that digestive efficiency is in order to have a maximal, you know, overall efficiency. So we'll do you know, one of these things on looking at ranges. And what else? Let me see if you guys have any questions before we tune out for the day. I hope you've enjoyed me ranting and raving, and everything that I've done has made a bunch of sense. I mean, we could turn around and go on and on, and let me see here if I could just get Annie back on the screen, and I can't, Annie. I don't know where. There you are. Hi. And so let me see where we are. Love the illustrations. Thank you, Annie. Heck yeah. Thumbs up, Annie. How is Michael's last name spelled? Olzsta. Olsta. Somebody put Olszta. Is it really Olsta or Olsta? I don't know. I thought it was Olzsta. It's I agree with you, Dr. Misak. You are right. Thank you, Betty. Thank you. You know, I bet your dad wasn't a person to stand up against and try to have an argument with. And if I know you, you probably tried many times. All right. People, just stay sane in this crazy world. Know who you are. know God's with you. You know, that is so important. Is he's with you through it all, because he is in and of all things. He's omniscient. He's not omnipotent. He is there, people. And tap in. You know, just tap in. You know, find that time. Be still. Know that he is. Let him speak to your heart. And because if I didn't have that, I have no reason to be here. This world is crazy, and God is what keeps me going. And because this is just ludicrous. If there's a heaven and a hell, and hell is a separation from God, then that's the only thing I have right now in this world. Because if there's a heaven that says that you're in God's presence eternally in light, then I'm living my hell. And I think if you guys really think about it, we all are, because this world is screwed up. And and I would say, Annie, I mean, we want to be off at 11, so we keep it relative to an hour. And I was going to ask you a political question and say, hey, what do you want to talk about politics?
Oh no, why would we do that? It's been such a wonderful show.
So people, just, you know, stay informed. You know, as a Christian, you know, you will recognize things in this world if you are in tune with God. And this world is screwed up. And so I hope that that we could get this message out, that we can help people know that healing. Because if you don't have health in your life, it really sucks, people. And so healing is free. It's available. It just takes effort and understanding. And that's all I'm trying to help you with. I hope that this weather turns. I'm going to go lay a floor in my house with my kids today. If it's nice, I'll probably go for a motorcycle ride, because I haven't been on one for a while. And I wish I was saying happy holiday weekend, but if you're out and enjoying yourself, have fun. Annie, thank you again. Thank you all. Until next week, God bless you. We'll see you.
All right.